boys? It's Chin. Welcome to a new video where I will be going over the bad UFC fighters over the last however long I've been watching that I wanted to be good. There's a lot of fighters on the roster these days, and there have been a lot of fighters that have come and gone through the UFC that I was a fan of at some point that ended up being absolute dog shit. These aren't guys that I thought would be championship level. These aren't guys that I thought would even be top 10, top 5. But they're just guys that I was a fan of that were terrible. And maybe you guys hearing some of these names will be able to remember. A lot of these guys are kind of obscure, but some of them had some fun runs in the UFC. These are not guys like Tony, not guys that were good at some point and then ended up just being dog shit. No, I'm talking about guys that already have fulfilled their UFC careers, and guys that ended up being dog shit and got cut. Starting with Anton Turkalj, the fucking pleasure man. Dude, this guy, it makes me smile just looking at him, dude. He's so fucking weird looking, but he's got the hair and dude, I loved the pleasure man. He got signed and instantly went 0-4 in the UFC and then got cut. I don't even know what to say about this guy. He was literally on the regionals in Brave, I believe, just baptizing people. And bro, I thought he would be good. He was having, if any of you guys have seen that viral clip of somebody that really needed to take a shit and then they got into the octagon and they just fucking baptized a motherfucker and then ran to the back, that was Anton Turkalj, bro. That was Anton Turkalj. And he was doing all sorts of other funky shit on the regionals too. He was getting these crazy subs, these fucking insane flatline KOs with the goofiest fucking style. I thought he would be really, really fun to watch in the UFC. I thought he'd be a win one, lose one type of guy that'd be around for a few years and puts together, a decent highlight reel. But he ended up just being dog shit. I mean, but, he was fighting he's kind of fighting killers. Jailton Almeida, Vitor Petrino, Tyson Pedro, Ivo Aslan. The last two aren't that good, but, getting Jailton Almeida in your UFC debut is fucking nasty, all right? Just a really, really, really fun fighter to watch. It's a shame that he didn't end up being good. I'm still a fan of him. But, that's my go. That's the pleasure man. Moving on to this little duo installment here. We got the Tafa Bros. I know that Junior's not cut, I don't think. But Justin is, pretty sure. These guys were shit. They had a nice little run, each of them. At some point, they each strung together a couple wins. But for the most part, just losers. That sounded harsh. They lost a lot. I like them, though. Their whole thing was they were good kickboxers, but the second you got them to the ground, they got fucking smoked. The second any sort of adversity was presented to them, they just got smoked. Crazy KO power and decent kickboxing, honestly, from Justin Tafa in the heavyweight division. He was decent as a kickboxer, he's pretty good. There was a point where he was actually just flatlining everybody. But when they weren't, they were really fucking boring. They were going to the worst decisions imaginable, especially Justin on the left. Dude, he had some fights that were just unbearable to watch. He had a fight with, I think, Muhammad Usman or something. I'm not remembering correctly, I don't think, but I think it was Muhammad Usman. And he had Usman on skates the entire fight, but he just was so gassed out that Usman was just holding him up against the fence for 12 minutes and just won a decision. It was terrible. Tafa Bros, they weren't that good, but I fucking liked them. They were cool. Moving on, William fucking Knight. Dude, this guy, I thought this guy would be a killer. This is a guy, I actually thought this guy could make it to the top 15 or something. He was really fucking good. He came in off the Contender Series. He smoked Cody Brundage, which is not impressive. Okay, but it was back then, bro. I saw that and I was like, yo, this guy could be good. And then he turned into Tyron Woodley. He's dead ass just Tyron Woodley. One of the most gun-shy fighters I've ever fucking seen. I don't know which one it is here in this array of fights that he's had in the UFC. He went 3-4, not including the Contender Series fight. There was a fight here where it was record-breaking low levels of volume. I think it was the Martian Prachnio fight here. I believe that was in the Apex, or it was one of these. And dude, oh my god, he looked so fucking ass. He threw 12 punches, and it went to a decision, and he lost or something like that. Just fucking bad. I thought he'd be so good, bro. I mean, a guy that's built like this, you'd think would absolutely nuke people. He had the power to do it, but he didn't throw. He didn't have a jab. When he did throw, he wasn't throwing combos. He just had like one right hand or something. I don't even want to go back and watch his fights to get that accurate. Like, he had some sort, I think it was like a right hand or a left hand. It was just a hook or something. Man, he sucked. I thought he'd be so good, man. That sucked. Sucked watching him. He was boring as shit. Moving on. Rebels of Spain. Come on, I had to throw in a gimme, you know? Everybody, not everybody, a solid amount of people thought Rebels of Spain would be fun to watch and good in the UFC, considering how shit the heavyweight division was. I thought he would be top 10. I kind of halted at top 5 because I thought a guy like Curtis Blades would be able to just fucking smoke him on the ground. I didn't think guys like Waldo Cortez Acosta and Austin fucking Lane, who's one of the worst UFC fighters in history, I didn't think either of those guys would be able to just blob Max and take him down and ride him out to a decision. I really didn't see that coming. But yeah, ever since then, Old Man Merchant. I hate how they did him. What was it? It was JDS on the MVP card. That's just fucking brutal, man. That was a brutal fight to watch. I made a reaction video to that card, and I was very upset about that. That made no sense. But Rebels has nuclear KO power, and he has, like, deadass, he put 100% of his stat points into his striking and his power, and 0 into his grappling. Losing to Austin Lane, that has to be one of the worst losses in UFC history. That is really, it's really that bad. That's got to be like a bottom 15 loss to ever take place in the UFC. That's just terrible. Man, Rebels of Spain. I thought he'd be good. I thought he would have fit in pretty damn well to the heavyweight division, which just sucked otherwise, but he couldn't resist a takedown from fighters that frankly aren't even grapplers. You know, maybe Austin Lane a little bit, but Waldo, no. Just crazy. Fucking, he sucked. Moving on, this is going to be the final fighter of the video. A fighter that I'm very fucking passionate about, okay? This is a guy that back then I actually thought he'd be something. Like, deadass, I thought he'd be something. He's the only fighter in this list that I thought would be anything. Carmel Thunder, Miguel Baeza. This guy came into the UFC pre-COVID and was lighting it up against absolute nobodies. Not Matt Brown. But, dude, he was so good. He was so good at some point. I thought he would be sick. He was absolutely murdering people. And then he fought Santiago Ponzinibbio. And to this day, one of the most underrated fights I've ever watched. That is legitimately one of the greatest fights to ever come out of the last 5 years. Like, straight up. Go watch it if you haven't. That fight is batshit crazy. And Baeza was a massive favorite in that fight. It was Ponzinibbio coming off of that big layoff because he was injured, where he was retired and then came back, fought the Leech, got knocked out. I believe this was his second fight coming off of that return. This was right after Ponzinibbio got knocked out by the Leech. And he fought Baeza. I thought Baeza would fucking roll Ponzinibbio, bro. I was so confident. It was legitimately, like, probably top 30 most confident picks I've had in the last 5 years. Or 6 years, if you want to call it, because it happened in 2021. Like, I was so confident that Baeza would cook him, but he fucking didn't. He put on a fight of the year banger, but after that, night, bro. He fought fucking COVID-era Andre Fialho and Chaos Williams, which are both fucking unbelievable fighters. Andre Fialho was on like a fucking 4-0 run in the UFC until he fought, I think, Joaquin Buckley. And then Chaos Williams was just murdering people during COVID, like absolutely smoking people. And then the Puna fight was just really bad. I mean, he just gassed out and got decisioned. And that was it. That was the last we've ever seen from Miguel Baeza. His chin completely crippled. He went on a sick run. Got a win over Matt Brown, man. I forgot about that. That's fucking sick. And then just fell off badly. You know, maybe some of you guys think the same that I thought about fucking Carmel Thunder, dude. This guy was so fucking sick to watch. But anyways, that's the video. These are all the fighters. There's probably a couple more I could have thought of, but I wanted to keep the video kind of short. These are all the fighters that I thought would be fucking sick to watch. You know, fun fighters that I really liked in the UFC that just ended up being dog shit. If you enjoyed, please leave a sub, comment, like the video. I'm going to be dropping another video on Thursday going over all these crazy weight changes that are going on. That nobody's really talking about. There's a lot of big weight changes that ranked fighters are making. So I'm going to be compiling all of that in a video on Thursday. Enjoy the Connor card, guys. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Shind.